I'm going to talk about a super fun, a bit conspiratorial, not too conspiratorial topic, which is why and how world governments are attempting to manipulate social media, especially with regards to my favorite platform, that is Reddit. A disclaimer though, anytime somebody talks about governments manipulating or controlling things, people tend to scoff a bit, as if you're suggesting some world spanning conspiracy done by secret agents. I'm not suggesting anything crazy like that. I just want to talk about confirmed things that the governments have done in the past, and I want to extrapolate that out to our modern day social media landscape to make some educated guesses as to what might be happening now. Because admittedly, these topics require a lot of conjecture. I'm going to be talking about a few things in this video. One, who are our geopolitical adversaries that might be trying to manipulate the internet and why? Two, what confirmed operations have our adversaries done in the past? Three, what might they be doing now with Reddit, and what do we do about it? We have three major geopolitical adversaries right now. The first would be China. Chinese social media propaganda tends to be a bit more benign than that of our other adversaries. China is not in any wars right now, so they don't have much motivation on that front. The big motivation of their propaganda is mainly internally facing propaganda to kind of keep control of the population, as well as externally, the goal is to just vaguely make China look good. Perhaps by spreading misinformation about various economic metrics, and there's a lot of nationalism as well as anti Taiwan rhetoric as expected. But there's a very interesting Arvix paper called Cross Subreddit Behavior as Open Source Indicators of Coordinated Influence, a case study of r/Sino and r/China. This discussed in detail various manipulations that China had done on targeted subreddits. It was generally pro government nationalist policies, and it described how these users could be detected by contrasting cross subreddit behavior and measuring how it was different than other users of those subreddits. And this paper was written in 2025, so very recent. This stuff is happening now, probably more than ever has happened with the advent of AI. The second major adversary is Russia. And the propaganda they are spreading, of course, has to do mostly with the Russia Ukraine war. This propaganda takes a very right leaning tone. And the goal is to spread misinformation about what's happening in Ukraine, to attempt to justify the invasion by calling all Ukrainians Nazis, and to make people think the war is hopeless, or even just to push a pro-American isolationist stance that gets kind of the US or Europe to stop giving weapons to Ukraine. And Russia has done numerous social media operations all throughout the last decade, both on Twitter and Facebook, but also on Reddit as well. The earliest example comes from 2016. Here's an announcement made by this Reddit CEO Spez, where he described how they found 1,000 accounts linked to a Russian social manipulation campaign. This campaign was meant to influence the 2016 election. They were the infamous Russian troll farms. Additionally, in 2019, there was another campaign dubbed Secondary Infection. The operation's goal was to divide, discredit, and distract Western countries. Parts were to inflame tensions between NATO allies, and other operations were designed to stoke racial, religious, and political hatred in these countries. Reddit announced that they banned 61 accounts for this for vote manipulation, and they also banned a subreddit called UK Whistleblower for this. And then more recently in 2023, there was an operation called Doppelganger. It had the goal of undermining support for Ukraine. What it did was spread fake websites that mimicked various major news sites like Fox News or the Washington Post, and it spread fake articles on those kind of fake websites. And then our third major adversary is Iran. Iran also has a history of manipulating Reddit. In fact, in 2018, a group of Reddit moderators helped discover one such of these networks. Moderators and researchers were able to find evidence of a wide-ranging propaganda network across social media news sites that had ties to Iran. This network made efforts even to target r/World News, which was the third largest subreddit on the platform at that time. They even told Reddit directly about this, and they were initially given the runaround. But eventually, Reddit banned 140 accounts related to this operation. A more recent example was in 2024. There was an operation called Storm 2035. It was a campaign to use AI generated content to spread propaganda on social media that was discovered by OpenAI. And in the fourth category of social media manipulators, I will include the USA as an honorary mention. This is not because I think they're really spreading propaganda, but more that I think that the US would be doing defensive operations against these foreign propaganda initiatives. For every operation that I talked about, the US and its various government agencies were definitely on the other side doing their own anti manipulation or discovery of that. And to a much lesser extent, probably Ukraine or Israel were doing similar things as they were our geopolitical allies against Russia and Iran. So keep that in the back of your mind at all times. All of what I laid out here is confirmed. No guesswork, no conspiracy, all right there in the open, admitted to by Reddit, the company, news articles, or even the government. Now, let's get into the realm of speculation. What could these groups be doing now on Reddit? The obvious stuff is the stuff that I've already mentioned. Iran or Russia could have troll farms that post misinformation, both in comments and in links in top level posts to foreign propaganda. They could both create the content and propel it to the top of subreddits using paid upvotes and other vote manipulation schemes, hoping that the propaganda is recommended to users outside those kind of propaganda focused subreddits. But troll farms posting propaganda is something that can only be so effective. How many spam accounts can you really get away with having? A much more effective and scary possibility would be if Russia or Iran went after the mod teams directly. Random anonymous moderator teams run Reddit. The top moderator of a subreddit has almost completely unaccountable power over a subreddit. They choose what to allow, what to remove, who to ban, and who to promote. And it's all done behind the scenes without any visibility into what these moderators are supporting or even who they work for. If I were a smart operative working for one of these foreign propaganda agencies, I'd go after these mod teams. All you need to do is compromise one person, and you get control over a platform that gets hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views per day, all pointed at content that your propaganda operation is pumping out. I posit that there isn't even is a network of alt world news subreddits right now that are a breeding ground for foreign misinformation, and the moderators of these subreddits, or even Reddit itself, are borderline willingly ignorant of this dynamic. If you follow anything to do with world news on Reddit, a few subreddits will keep popping up. Those are r/anime titties. It's a silly name, I know, but it has nothing to do with anime boobs. Instead, it's about one of the largest alt world news subreddits on the platform, as well as subreddits like r/IR studies, a variety of subreddits related to either Russia, Iran, or Palestine, as well as many leftist or socialist subreddits. All of these subreddits share the common feature of being wildly anti USA and parroting a bunch of pro Russia or pro Iran talking points and propaganda. Are the mod teams of these subreddits directly controlled by foreign operatives? Are they ideologically aligned and don't care? Are they just being taken advantage of and don't notice that their communities are being overtaken by foreign propaganda? We don't know because there's zero transparency into what these moderators do or who they are. And to be clear, I'm not saying that being a leftist or being pro Palestinian automatically makes somebody a foreign operative who is purposely distributing misinformation or anything like that. Instead, I'm saying that just like how Russia puts out far right talking points that appeal to conservatives in order to hurt America, it is also true that Iran puts out left leaning talking points that appeal to even well meaning people on the left, but it's also done for the purpose of attacking America and its allies. Different groups are susceptible to different types of propaganda, and boy, are these subreddits the perfect networks to spread such propaganda. You know how I mentioned that paper earlier called Cross Subreddit Behavior as Open Source Indicators of Coordinated Influence, a case study on r/Sino and r/China? It's a research paper directly on the topic of how to uncover foreign propaganda networks on Reddit by evaluating users that frequently post across subreddits. And in the paper, it laid out its methodology and exactly how to do such analysis. I have taken this methodology and re implemented it myself. The original paper only ran this analysis on two subreddits related to China. Instead, I'm running this analysis on a network of hundreds of alt world news subreddits using the data source of every comment ever posted to them on Reddit. I'm starting with the month of March 2026. And although the results that I have are preliminary, I've been able to track down a lot more foreign disinformation trolls than the original paper did. And these are basically confirmed also. And that most of the users that my algorithm flagged ended up being banned later by Reddit. As in, my algorithm didn't know that these users were banned already, and independently, it was able to predict that these users were likely detected and banned by Reddit's own internet foreign propaganda or bot detection programs. I am going to be making another video about this analysis, as well as releasing both the code and the results open source, so that anyone else can replicate it and improve on my analysis. I'm surprised more people haven't done such foreign propaganda analysis already. There's a website called Arctic Shift, has torrents of every single post and comment ever posted to Reddit. It's about 1 terabyte of data per month for the whole site, but if you narrow it down to certain subreddits, it becomes a lot easier to kind of do high quality analysis on even just your modern day personal MacBook. And on the back of all this, I'm sure that the US government is doing counter intel propaganda operation. I don't know, maybe they're tracking down suspicious accounts themselves, or they're trying to protect Reddit moderators themselves from being compromised. That's what I would do. I would go after or defend the mod teams. In conclusion, it is problems like these that show that we should demand more from Reddit, the platform, and its moderators. A widespread group of foreign agents or people sympathetic to such goals could be secretly running large parts of the third largest website in the USA, and we would no way of knowing about this. People should demand more from the platform, as Reddit has let the inmates, i.e., its moderators, run the asylum for too long.